Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Texas Tuesdays here live. I am your host, Matthew Miller. We are brought to you here by Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. Go over to the Texas channel, subscribe there. Go over to the Big 12 channel, subscribe there. Whatever one you're on, switch and subscribe to the other one right now. You can still catch me here, right here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, brought to you by SG1 Sports and the Big 12 channel. Guys, if you're going to go to a game, why not save money? Go to ticketsmarter.com, type in code BIG for $10 off a purchase of $100 or more. Type in go BIG20 for a purchase of $20 off a purchase of $300 more. That really helps out the channel, guys. Thank you guys very much for that. Again, subscribe to our SEC channel as well as this Big 12 channel because guess what? Texas is going to the SEC, so catch up to that content next year when we're on there. And why not get there early? Subscribe. Thank you guys for being there. Subscribe to our new Big 12 channel as well. Charlie Williams, howdy from Dallas, Texas. Hey, hook 'em, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Again, please share this out. Please subscribe, guys. We're usually here at 7:30. We'll probably be here at 7:30 the rest of the year. Sometimes we make a switch up. Tonight was that night. I was busy. I had to do this at 9. We're here at 9:30, 9:40. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to jump into recapping the season up to this point, midseason breakdown a little bit, and then we're going to jump into the Houston game, guys. So, again, please hit that like button. So please subscribe down below. I am your host, Matthew Miller, here on the Texas channel, on the Big 12 channel. So please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. Share this out with your friends and family so we get more people in here. Thank you, guys. And let's jump into this recap. So, Texas, 5-1 going into the bye week. I think most people honestly would have taken 5-1. I think we beat Oklahoma, we lose to Alabama. I think people take that. Unfortunately, we beat Alabama. We raised these expectations on ourselves, and we lose to Oklahoma. Obviously, our hated rival, but we did lose to them. And I think a lot of fans were disappointed by that. I was disappointed in the effort. I wasn't disappointed losing to Oklahoma because, guys, honestly, I can't believe what I'm about to say. Texas and Oklahoma might be the best two teams in the country. They might be. I have watched football in the bye week. I liked what I saw from Washington. Ohio State, pretty good team, but they played Purdue, and Purdue's not that good, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm not impressed with 34-0. If you would have been 50-0, I would have been impressed. Michigan's pretty damn good, but I think there's only 5 or 6 teams in the running, and I think 2 of them played in that Red River rivalry. I believe that. I really do, and I think we're going to play again, and I think it's going to be a hell of a game again, and I think this time we will come out on top. But again, I'm getting too far ahead of ourselves. Some teams on the schedule still scare me, and we will talk about them a little bit tonight. But we're going to focus on our main opponent, just like Texas should focus on Houston. But before we get to that, let's jump into this Big 12 season as it is right now. So Quinn Ewers, I believe he completed about 59% of his passes. He is up to 69%, guys. He's gotten a lot better in this offense, a lot more comfortable. He's still not at that peak, though, guys. Honestly, if he was at his peak, he'd be completing about 75% of his passes. He is still leaving plays on the field. He still looks antsy at times, indecisive at times. And when the first read isn't there, he can get a little bit frustrated. And Quinn, to me, is a rhythm guy. Quinn is that point guard in basketball that likes to go full speed ahead, get it out to his playmakers, and go from there. If you throw him off of his game like Oklahoma was able to early on, he can struggle. And I was impressed because I didn't know Quinn could do this. When he did struggle, guess what, guys? He was able to rein himself back in, and he played a freaking phenomenal second half of that Red River rivalry game, completing 19 passes in a row. His one incompletion that did come later in the game was to Xavier Worthy, and honestly, it was a pass interference call that did not get called. So he played phenomenal in the second half. That's a feather in his cap to me. When you play a god-awful first half, you pick yourself off that turf, off that field, off that grass, whatever you're playing on, and you go out there and you play a great second half. So that was a great job by Quinn Ewers. He also has 1,704 yards passing, 9.3 yards per attempt, which is really good. 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I believe he has 4 rushing touchdowns on top of that, so 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's done a phenomenal job, guys. He really has. I'm really proud of Quinn Ewers and his development. Okay, this is where I get to brag a little bit, and I'm going to. Jonathan Brooks, 108 attempts, 726 yards, 6.7 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns, 1 touchdown catching. I have said for about a year and 2 to 3 months that Jonathan Brooks would have better stats than Bijan Robinson while he's at Texas. I said he'd have better stats. I said he'd put up better numbers. I did not say he's a better player. He is not a better player than Bijan Robinson, and I said that. I said he'd put up these numbers because he's a very good player, running behind what is going to be a better offensive line than Bijan ever ran it under. He's going to be with wide receivers surrounding him that Bijan never really had, and he's going to have the coaching that Bijan never had. Bijan would have put up better numbers than Jonathan Brooks if you're recruiting him straight out of high school right now and he comes to Texas. But Jonathan Brooks is a good player. Jonathan Brooks will be a second or third round pick when he decides to come out for the NFL draft. And I kept telling people that. This guy is a stud. I don't give a shit about his 3-star rating coming out of high school. I watched the tape when he was in high school. He reminds me, guys, the way he runs, the way he's patient, of Le'Veon Bell. That's exactly what he reminds me of. I've said this for a year. I was the first. People say there's more people with more followers than me. There's more people that get more clout than me. Hopefully one day I'll be lucky enough to have those followers and that clout. But I said I have been the first one on this train long before any of those other big guys on Twitter that pump out Texas. I have been here. You can go back and look at videos from a year ago. I said Jonathan Brooks was going to be special, and he has been special. I am a big fan of this guy as a football player. I'm a big fan of him as a human being. I'm so happy for him. I'm finally glad he's getting his opportunity. And then his running mate, CJ Baxter, 44 carries, 17.5 yards per carry, 175 yards, 4.0 yards per carry. 17.5 would be insane. CJ Baxter, I like. He's going to either have to put on more weight because he is injury prone at this point. Every time he gets hit, he limps off the field, or he's going to have to adapt his running style. He reminds me the way he runs. I know this is a throwback for maybe some of you watching. It's Eric Dickerson. He is very upright when he runs the ball, very upright. So he's either going to have to lower his pad level and get a little bit nasty and maybe lose some of that top end speed, or he's going to have to put on weight because he just can't stay healthy. I like him and I like the talent. But I have a feeling, guys, this could be a case of where he's always banged up and he doesn't really reach his full potential at the University of Texas. I could 100% see him transferring somewhere else with a guy like Jarrett Gibson, Christian Clark. I think Jonathan Brooks is probably going to stay another year. And then I like Jaden Blue. If Jaden Blue, I have an opinion on him in which I think he has issues with fumbles because we saw he did fumble. He's the only lost fumble we have this year. And I think that's why he hasn't seen the field. If he fixes that, I think he's a better running back at this point than C.J. Baxter. So I think there's a possibility C.J. Baxter, unless he figures it out quickly, he may not be on campus at the University of Texas much longer. That's my opinion. I could be completely wrong on that. Next up, we'll talk about the wide receivers, and they played pretty damn well. I want to see Jordan Whittington get a touchdown. He does not have a touchdown this year. He does have 22 catches for 257 yards, 11.7 per catch. Xavier Worthy, 34 catches, 453 yards, 13.3 yards per catch, and 3 touchdowns. And then A.D. Mitchell, 25 catches, 354 yards, 14.2 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. Can't complain on top of that. JT Sanders, 14 for 291, 20.8 yards per catch, 1 touchdown. And Gunnar Helms, 7 for 118, 16.9 yards per catch, and a touchdown. I think going into the year, we knew the type of weapons we had at the wideout and tight end position. Jordan Whittington, again, I think we need to use him more. I think he was used perfectly in the Oklahoma game. We got him the ball more, force-fed him a little bit more. And I said he was going to be the X factor with Jadavian Sanders banged up. And Gunnar Helm played a lot better than I thought he was. Obviously, he was wide open for that catch. But there were other plays in that game where he was really good in that game. And I think, honestly, if we're going to run 12 personnel, which we do all the time, we run it like 70-something% of our snaps, if not more, for most games. We usually use a jumbo package with Malik Agbo, the backup lineman, in on those packages to run the ball. I think if Gunnar Helm can be 70% of the blocker that Malik Agbo is, put him in there and run 12 personnel with him and Jatavian Sanders, and I believe that opens up the passing game even more. And I think we need to see that in the red zone more. I think that will create play action opportunities in the red zone. I actually want to see Jatavian Sanders one-on-one with players out wide or cornerbacks out wide so we can throw them jump balls in the red zone. I think that will help because we will get to that. The red zone has definitely been an issue. But overall, I really like what I've seen from this offense. I think there's some tweaks you can make, but I have no complaints. Guys, I can be super picky with this team, and I think I am going to be when we get to what I believe they need to improve on. But let's be honest here. 2 years ago, we were 5-7. We were down in the dumps. This team is miles ahead better than those teams. It's miles ahead. Is it where we want it to be? No. But the luck for us is, guys, college football as a whole is down this year, and I think in a typical college football year with a typical dominant 2 to 3 teams, we probably don't make the college football playoff, and we probably don't have a shot at the national championship. This is not that year. I believe Texas has a shot at the national championship, and if I believe we play to the standard, again, something I will hit on a little bit later in this video, I think we can win the national championship. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. We're not miles ahead of better than anyone else. I don't think we're even a little bit better than anyone else, but we're right in that running. I think, like I said, 6 teams have kind of separated themselves now. I still think there's about 10 teams that can win a national championship, but I believe we're definitely in the 6 of, if you're going to go lay money down, you have to consider us. So that's the offensive side of the ball, and I'm giving you an off-season a mid-season offensive award, MVP, as you would, to Jonathan Brooks. He's been the best player on offense, period. Second for me would be Quinn Ewers. Third would probably be JT Sanders. But Jonathan Brooks wins this award. I think he's going to be a good NFL running back. He's playing great now with Texas, following in the footsteps of Roschon Johnson and Bijan Robinson. Nothing but great things to say about Jonathan Brooks. I'm very proud of him. He's been amazing. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, tacklers, top 5, Ford, Jahdae Barron, David Benda, Anthony Hill, and Ethan Burke. Guys, I think that's exciting to see. You have 3 guys, upperclassmen in Ford, Barron, and Benda, top 3, and then the next 2 guys are freshmen. Anthony Hill is going to be one of the best players in the history of Texas football. Yes, you heard that right. Anthony Hill is going to be one of the best players in the history of Texas football. I'm very confident in saying that. That guy's getting like 50 to 60% of the snaps, and he's 4th in tackling, guys. This guy is basically, you know what he is? He's a thoroughbred who they let on the racetrack, and he effed around and got in 3rd place. And you're like, wow, if we can train this guy's going to run laps around everyone else. And that's basically what he is. If this guy can learn the just be average with your fundamentals as a linebacker, and with the God-given ability that man has, he's going to be a 1st or 2nd round pick. Just based off that, if he becomes a Luke Kuechly type where he knows everything's coming, we're going to talk about this guy as a Hall of Famer in the NFL. That's how good he is. That's the capability he has. He is an absolute freak. I was worried going in the Oklahoma game that they would take advantage of him. Absolutely not. He was probably our 2nd best player on defense, and I take that back. He was our 2nd best player on defense. I think Jahdae Barron, as usual, it was our best, and then he was our 2nd, which is insane to say at this point that he could even be considered for that, guys. This guy's a freak. Anthony Hill's a freak. Sacks, we're going to talk about him again. He is leading the team in sacks, guys, with 3. He is leading the team in sacks with 3, and he barely sees the field. The ceiling for this guy, in my opinion, is Micah Parsons. That's his ceiling. That's exactly who he should watch tape of. That's who he can be. That's who he needs to be. If he turns into Micah Parsons, Swiss Army knife, woo, 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 woo. Pete K has himself a weapon. And man, he's already so good, guys. We're just basically, like I said, just throwing him out there, letting him play football. That's all we're doing at this point. We're not expecting much of him. We're just putting him out there and saying, see ball, get ball. If he knows what's coming before, if we can teach him that stuff in the film room, he's so good. He is so good. Tackles for loss, we have Ford at number 1, Sweat at number 2, Burke at number 3, Hill again at number 4, and Murphy at 5. Hill, you have players at every level now, guys, coming into next year. I know we're talking about this year, but next year you're going to have Burke there coming off the edge, Hill in the middle. We need to find that other guy on the outside, and I think Terrence Brooks has that opportunity to be that at cornerback. Same with Malik Muhammad. Those 2 guys that's a great corner tandem, honestly, going into next year. We need to find a safety. Derek Williams is good, but we need to find him a running mate as well. So that is the midseason recap. MVP, I can't believe I'm going to do this. Before this video started, I was going to say Jahdae Barron. The MVP of the defense is Anthony Hill. The MVP of the defense is Anthony Hill. He may get lost, but that guy just makes plays. And if you want to give it to someone else, it's got to be Jahdae Barron. Those are the 2 in the running, in my opinion. It would have been Ford, but he had an absolutely awful Oklahoma game. I still like Jalen Ford. He'll still be drafted in the probably late 1st, middle 2nd, maybe late 2nd round. From most likely 2nd round, but Hill and Barron are the best 2 players on defense. I fully believe that. Jahdae Barron is an absolute stud. I've loved that guy from 2 years ago. He's gotten even better since then. So all around, guys, those are the 2 guys on defense that I would like to mention as MVPs, and then Jonathan Brooks on the offensive side. We're 5-1, guys. We're exactly where I thought we would be. I thought we would lose to Alabama and beat Oklahoma, so we're 5-1. I predict us to go 5-1 at the beginning of the season in the second half too, to end up 10-2. To me, that'd be a disappointment. With the schedule, the way it's working out, and the talent we have and what we have shown, that would be a disappointment. But again, if we go 10-2 win the Big 12 championship game, I'm not going to get angry at that, but I'm going to be like, damn, we left a little bit on the table. in a season in which I believe college football is at its weakest it's been in probably a decade. So it would suck, but it is what it is, guys. I would definitely take a 10-2 season, not complaining, with the Big 12 championship. But guys, I do like one team from the state of Oklahoma, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a tangent real quick. The Thunder had Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. Went to the finals versus the Heat. They lost that series, and I said, you know what? We'll be back. That team never went back to the finals. I know it's different because in professional sports, those guys are in a contract for longer. But in college, when you have a down season like this and you have one of your best teams in the last 20 years, take advantage of it. You don't even have to win the national championship. Get to the playoff and see what happens. Get to the playoff and see what happens. That's what I want. That's what I want. If you're asking me true serum into me, that's what we want. That's what we need, in my opinion. Obviously, I'll take a Big 12 championship, and I will take a 10-2 record. Not going to complain about that because it hasn't been done around here in a very, very, very long time, over a decade. So I'm not going to complain about it, but that's what I want when the truth comes to it. Okay, guys. So what we need to get better at, midseason recap still. Better in the red zone, guys. We need to be better in the red zone. So let's get this. We're 35th. We have 35 points a game. That is 27th in the country, guys. 27th in the country. Not terrible. But when you break it down, we are top 15 in yards per play at 6.9. We are top 15 in total yards in a game at 486. And we played stiffer competition than most of the teams in front of us. We played Oklahoma and Alabama. Most teams do not have 2 games, maybe not even 1 under their schedule, under their belt. So in my opinion, those numbers at the end of the year, if we continue that, would both be top 10 numbers. And if we continue the points per game, probably be in the 20 to 22 range. This has to be better. We're better on a per play basis than 35 points a game, period, end of story. And the reason that is we're 11 of 24 touchdowns in the converted in the red zone. On 24 opportunities, guys, we have 11 touchdowns. That is not good enough. That is not good enough. If we can just be good at that, good. I'm not asking for a grade at red zone offense. If we can be good, if we can turn 11 to 24 into 16 to 24, this team takes a leap into which the defense is already, in my opinion, at a championship level. It's not an all-time great defense. It's not even a great defense, but it's a good enough defense to win a championship. It is a top 25 defense in the country, and that's what it takes to win a championship. I would argue it's a top 15 defense in the country. The offense is very close to being championship pedigree. It's not quite there yet. Some tweaks in the red zone will get us there. Like I said, I want to see Jatavian Sanders out wide. I want to see Gunnar Helm and Jatavian Sanders in the red zone used more. And honestly, guys, I just want to use brute force. If you want to go Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat out there and try to run the ball, I don't have an issue with that. Hand it off to him, though, once in a while. That would be better. Throw to him once in a while. I know we did that one time. Quinn Ewers needs to learn to QB sneak. And if you're not willing to risk that, then put in Savion Red and mash it down people's throats. But you have to do one of those things, guys. And honestly, you need to do all of those things at some point to throw teams off and also run some RPOs. If you're at like between the 5 and 10, run some RPOs. We saw it versus Alabama. Why not run it more? That's a hard play to stop with the players we have. Next up, get more takeaways. We have 8 takeaways on the air. It's not terrible. It's not great. For example, UGA won the national championship last year. They had 19. So just increase it by 10%. If this number was at 9 or 10, I'd feel more confident and comfortable. So just, get a little bit more. In the second half of the season, have 9 to 10 of them. And if you get 9 to 10 of them, we're right where we need to be. I think we need to take more risks when we do have guys, because our team is fast on defense. And when you have a fast team on defense, the first guy there needs to wrap him. The second guy there needs to try to get the ball out. That's the goal. And I think you're going to start to see that more. I would not be surprised if you see more strips at the ball. But the thing is, you still have to wrap up. The first guy, the key priority is to wrap up. And then the second guy is the one that's supposed to deliver the hit and get the ball out, guys. Execute better and play to the standard. So, Steve Sarkisian, stop being predictable on first downs, especially to lead the game. You either run a screen or a run to lead the game. That's the play that's led the game every single week. I think we're going to see a shot this week because he's heard that. He knows his tendencies, and self-scouting in a week, he's going to be like, okay, I guarantee you there's either going to be a play-action shot or a fake screen shot at the beginning of this Houston game. I have a feeling that's going to happen. I want to see more yards on first down because usually get a cushion on that first down. Take the 4 to 5 yards passing there. And then if you want to hand it off and get 2 to 3 yards, guess what? You're 3rd and 2. Instead of oh no, we only got 2 yards and then an incompletion on second down, you're 3rd and 8. That's a big difference, guys. 3rd and 2 and 3 or 3rd and 8 is a gigantic deal, and it needs to change with the play calling and tendency breaking, in my opinion. Play more young guys. I want to see more Anthony Hill. I want to see more Malik Muhammad. I want to see more Derek Williams. I want to see more Ethan Burke. I want to see more Jonte Cook on the offensive side. He was not mentioned in the offense because guess what? He hasn't really played. So I want to see that. And even Steve Sarkisian said he needs to do a better job of getting Jonte Cook involved, and he does. Because in my opinion, guys, I don't think he's Xavier Worthy 2.0, but can he be 75% of what Xavier Worthy was his freshman season? I think he can. And if he's that, then he's a quality number 3 guy on a team. On most teams. On our team, he's still a number 4, but still use him. I want to see more, honestly, get out of the 12 personnel and throw the ball around. You have 4 to 5 wide receivers that are good players. Use them. Throw them on the field at one time. I want to see Keelan Robinson a little bit more involved in the offense as well. That guy is very explosive. We don't use him enough. He's a great special teams player. I'll make the NFL just because he's great at special teams. So execute, play better your standard, play more younglings, get more takeaways, better in red zone. Those are the keys to me to get us to that point where we're in the college football playoff. If you can, you don't even have to hit on all 4 of these. So you hit out 3 out of the 4, I think we make the college football playoff. If we had a 2 out of 4, I think we win the Big 12 championship. If we hit on 1 out of these 4 that I just mentioned, I think it's a coin toss whether we win the Big 12 championship. I really do. If we hit on none of them, Oklahoma will beat us again. I know that sucks to hear. I know it sucks for me to say, but it's the truth. We have to hit on a couple of these things, guys, for us to get where we want to go. So injuries. I'll mention these. Cole Hudson, JT Sanders, and Ryan Watts and Jake Majors all practiced yesterday. Steve Sarkisian said they look better. I believe Cole Hudson was still the most injured out of those guys. Honestly, if Cole Hudson and Jake Majors are game time decisions, sit them out. It's Houston. If these guys are 90% healthy and want to play, throw them out there. But if they're anything worse than 90%, just keep them out. It's Houston. We should win this game no matter what. We have the talent to do it. I actually liked what I saw from Connor Robertson at center in that Oklahoma game. I do believe with a week, actually 2 weeks under his belt, in a less hostile environment, honestly, kind of like a pseudo home game, I guarantee that stadium's at least 50% Texas, that he'll do fine. I'm pretty confident in saying that. I think, honestly, the biggest guy for me to be out there is Ryan Watts. We really struggled when Gavin Holmes was on the field. And no offense to Gavin Holmes, unless he finds his form, which he had at Wake Forest, he needs to ride the pine because Malik Muhammad is too good of a player to sit behind that guy if he's going to play like that. And then Terrence Brooks on the other side is a really good player. He's going to be a really good player. He was pretty damn good in that Oklahoma game. There were some spots, but overall, I have nothing to complain with him. They were definitely attacking Gavin Holmes for the most part. So, guys, we will move on. The midseason recap is over. We're restarting the season with Houston. It's 2 seasons, guys. We went 5-1 in the first half. We're 0-0. Let's see what we can do in the second half. So, Houston, they are 3-3, 1-2 in the Big 12 after an absolutely crazy game last Thursday versus West Virginia. The last 2 minutes of that game in and of itself are amazing. The whole game was very good, but those last 2 minutes were insane. Back and forth, back and forth. The Hail Mary by Houston to win it. So 3-3 in the Big 12, 29.7 points per game, 65th out of 133rd in the country, 31.3 points per game defensively, 108th of 133 teams in the country. So not good on the defensive side of the ball. And we're reunited with a guy that's beaten us before in Donovan Smith. 66.2% completion percentage for him, 1,601 yards, 7.3 yards per pass to him, which isn't that good, guys, especially in a Dana Holgorsen offense. 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 4 rushing touchdowns. Now, this guy's not going to kill us on the ground like Dillon Gabriel. Even if we gave him the same rushing legs, he doesn't have the wheels Gabriel has. And I don't think, honestly, he has the balls to pull the ball as soon as Gabriel did in some of those situations, or the balls to run through some guys like Dillon Gabriel did in some situations. He wants to pass the ball, and he will pass the ball. I think his running comes more in the red zone, so you're going to have to watch out for that in the red zone if they do get there. But he is a drop back passer. I like Donovan Smith. I thought Texas Tech made a mistake. He's better than Tyler Shaw, and he's healthier. That was a stupid decision by them to keep Tyler Shaw, whatever the hell his name is. I honestly don't care because guess what? You get hurt, and when you play, you're okay. So you don't deserve your name to be called right. Joseph Manjack, Sam Brown, and Matthew Golden at wide receiver. All of them are averaging 10 yards or more per catch. All of them have 2+ or more touchdowns. Joseph Manjack is an animal. I really like him. I think he's going to play slot in the NFL for a decent amount of time. He's a good player. I mean, Golden and Brown will probably also get a cup of coffee in the NFL. They're obviously not as good as Tank Dell was, who's with the Texans now, but they're still good players. At the running back position, I know Dana Holgerson, if he could, would throw it every down, but he does have Parker Jenkins, Tony Mathis, the West Virginia transfer, and I like Stacy Sneed. They all have over 100 yards out of the backfield. Parker Jenkins has 3 touchdowns catching and 3 touchdowns rushing. Stacy Sneed has 1 touchdown and rushing, 2 touchdowns catching. So he's the more receiving back out of the 3. And Tony Mathis, honestly, is the third string out of these guys. He only has 115 yards. He has no touchdowns as well. And I liked him coming out of West Virginia. I thought they lost a good running back there with Tony Mathis. But Stacy Sneed is honestly the guy that scares me the most out of these guys. So keep him contained. Keep him in the keep the rush lanes. That's another thing, too, I should have hit on. The rush lanes need to be better because you can't allow someone like Dylan Gabriel to run for 113 yards. So we need to tighten that up. I don't think you'll see it much in this game. And, again, we'll see it in the red zone. So once they get in the red zone, I need to see those rush lanes tighten up and make Donovan Smith throw into tight windows to beat you. On the defense side of the ball, honestly, not much to talk about. This Houston defense is not good other than I'm going to quote Charles Manson, helter skelter. That's what they do, guys. They're kind of all over the place. They like to create havoc. They like sacks and turnovers. That's how they beat you on the defensive side of the ball because they're going to give up yards. They're going to give up points. But Nelson Caesar off the edge, 4.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. And then the Oklahoma transfer, David Ugwegbu, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. So these guys are going to get after you, and they're going to try to get you to the ground and obviously create negative plays. And they also have 3 interceptions for Hamilton and Fleming on their defense. So, like I said, they're going to try to pressure you, create sacks, or create turnovers. If you can protect Quinn and he can avoid bad mistakes, you're going to get yards. You're going to get deep plays. You're going to get touchdowns. So, to me, guys, I think we should win this game. And, again, playing to your standard. Houston honestly doesn't even scare me. There's 2 games left on our schedule that really scare me, and it's going to may come to a surprise to some people. TCU and Iowa State. TCU and Iowa State scare me. Iowa State keeps scaring me because for some reason they are playing well now. They could be like the 4th or 5th best team in the Big 12, which is crazy to say. It shows you how bad the Big 12 is this year. But also, Matt Campbell's a damn good coach. He is a very good coach, and he'll still get hired if he wants a job somewhere else. So him being written off was totally wrong. I didn't do it. I was on the fence. I was like, this was, to me, the year whether it makes or breaks him. He's done already way better than I thought he would have. So those 2 games on the road scare me. Guys, we should win this game. If we play the way we did versus Oklahoma and they play their A game, we still win this game. Now, will it be pretty close? Yeah, I think we probably only beat them by like a touchdown. But if we play our A game, they play their A game, we beat Houston by 17 plus points. I want to see a fast start too. We have not had a fast start other than really the Baylor game from the second drive on. We controlled it. And I think Houston is just as bad as Baylor. I think Houston is basically Baylor with a better quarterback. I think Donovan Smith is obviously better than the guys they had out there and Robertson. And then I think Martinez came in really late in that game when it was over. I think Blake Shapen and Donovan Smith are basically the same quarterback. I think Baylor would have put up a little bit more of a fight with Blake Shapen. I am going to go Texas, obviously the winner in this game. I'm going to go Texas 41, Houston 16. I think Texas gets the job done. They win this game by 25 points. Obviously, we have a game. I believe we play BYU the next week at home after this game. So that's going to be an interesting game. If we get pressure on Keaton Slovis, again, we'll break that down game next week, but I think we'll be good in that one. But again, Texas wins this one 41-16. I think Houston's able to scrape together some points. They're probably going to beat us for a long touchdown, just like every team has beat us for a long touchdown other than Oklahoma. So I expect a probably 40 to 50-yard bomb from Donovan Smith, though, Manjack, Golden, or Brown for a touchdown. And I think they scrape together probably another touchdown or a couple more field goals at some point to get to 16. So, guys, that will do it. Again, can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. We're here every Tuesday for Texas Tuesdays. We're here after every game. I'll be here Saturday after the Houston game. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. I believe I'll probably be here about 7 o'clock. Again, guys, share this out with friends, family. I want more comments, more people in here. Guys, have a lovely day. And always, guys, hook 'em.